Welcome back. This is the second lesson recording for IM2, April 1st, 2021. So we were just working on the card sort for Desmos. So we've matched the triangle with definition of polygon with three sides, a quadrilateral with two pairs of parallel sides. The parallel sides are denoted by this notation, the arrow. This tells me this line and this line AD and BC are parallel to each other, and AB has two arrows and DC has two arrows. That means these two lines are parallel to each other. So I put those two together because it has two pairs of parallel lines. A quadrilateral with one pair of parallel lines, well, that would be trapezoid here. And then finally, a quadrilateral with congruent sides. It's a four-sided shape with all four sides that are the same, and we call those rhombus. Okay, so let's put them all up there so that it is easy for us to see. Okay, now area is base times height. Area is D1 times D2 divided by 2. Area is D plus B1 plus B2 times H divided by 2, and area is B times H divided by 2. Which is the triangle? It's the base times height divided by 2. So that's going to be the triangle. And now we have base times height. Base times height, base plus base, the two of the bases, take an average of that times by height. And then this one is D1 times D2 divided by 2. This, just in case you do not know, that's the area for rhombus. Okay, and that's the rhombus here. And that is the D1 and D2 refers to the diagonals. Okay, so if I join this point, it's going to be that. And that leaves us with B times H, base times perpendicular height is the parallelogram, and then trapezoid is this. Move on to the next card. All right, the area of a parallelogram is base times height. It's base times height. Notice something that the two lengths that you are multiplying to get the area is always going to be perpendicular to each other. Notice that the 6 and 14, or the side with 6 and 14 or side with 20 is perpendicular to the side with 8. How do we know? It forms that 90-degree sign here. Okay, so it's going to be 6 plus 14 is same as 20. So 20 is the base times height is 8. So it's going to be 20 times 8, which is 160. And that's going to be my submission. Awesome. The area of a trapezoid is sum of the two bases. Sum of the two bases, that's 10 and 18 plus 8. Okay, so 18 plus 8 is 26 plus 10. So 36 divided by 2, that's 18 times divided by height. Again, the length that you're multiplying has to be perpendicular to each other. Okay, so though this value times h has to be perpendicular to whichever length that you're multiplying. So in this case, it will be 15 times 18. Oops. It's saying try again, but this is actually correct. So I'll have to fix that. Next, the area of a triangle is base times the height. Okay, notice again the base, whatever the length of the base of the triangle is, the height that you're multiplying, they have to be perpendicular. Notice that this is going to be perpendicular to this. Okay, but the base of the triangle is this 30 here. All right, so 30 times 12 divided by 2. So it's going to be 30 times 12 divided by 2 is going to be equal to, and again, this is showing as try again, but this is actually correct. The area of a rhombus is multiplying two diagonals, D1 and D2, then divide result by 2. So diagonal is, this is the diagonal, one diagonal, 9 plus 9 is 18, and 12 times 12 is, 12 plus 12 is 24. So it's going to be 18 times 24 divided by 2. Okay. All right. Why do the formulas work? It's important to have an intuitive feeling why formulas work. So this is for the parallelogram, which says the area of base times height. Well, if you think of a parallelogram and you can cut that piece off and then move that over, since it's parallel, it's going to fit right in. So it's just going to be base, whatever that base is, times height. And here's the formula to animation to explain the trapezoid area. Okay, so what's going on here? You start with the trapezoid, then you make 2 copies of it, then bring that up, slide it up, and notice that this is now area of a parallelogram. Now there are both 2 pairs of parallel sides, and that's B1 and B2. Here is the one of the base, and the other base is also B2 and plus B1. Okay, and so it's going to be B plus times B1 times the height. But since there was 2 of them, you need to divide by 2, and that's where the equation comes in. Okay, so back to the slide. Something to note when you are trying to calculate the area of a triangle. Area of a triangle is always going to be given by half of base times height. All right, so what is base and what, or we can say height being the altitude. Notice that when you're multiplying area, these two, B and H, the two lengths, they have to be make perpendicular 90 degrees. They need to do that. Okay, so let's assume that this triangle, okay, we are given this length as 10. Okay, and let's assume that we're given this length as 5, and this is as 6. And then in that case, and we are also given this length as, say, 3. Okay, so now what are the lengths that are we going to multiply to get my area? Remember the two lengths B and H, they have to be perpendicular to each other. So I have an altitude of the triangle here, 3. If I am multiplying this number 3 to what? What is the length that is perpendicular to this? That's going to be this number. So it's going to be 10 times 3 divided by 2. Okay, that's going to be 15 units square. Okay, all right, so then what if you have a different triangle this time, or it's actually the same triangle, but the dimension that you're given is different. Okay, so what if you were given again that, whoops, if you were again given these dimensions there, but the dimension, you were not given the altitude of that triangle inside, but you were given the altitude of this height. And we were given that this is same as 4. And we know that this makes perpendicular 90 degrees. Okay, again, the length is outside the triangle. However, this is still the height of the triangle. And so the base is going to be, this is the height. So what is the length that makes a perpendicular to this length? It is this, and it is inside. It's the length of the triangle. So that's the base times height. So in this case, area is going to be 6 times 4 divided by 2, which is 12 unit square. Okay. So depending on the dimensions that you're given, remember the two numbers that you multiply to calculate the area, they always have to be perpendicular. They need to make 90 degrees angle. Okay, what about the area of rhombus? To do that, I'm going to refer you to this site. It's called Math is Fun. And perimeter of rhombus, obviously, is just 4 times the side. But area of rhombus is going to be, okay, remember the rhombus is a flat shape with 4 equal straight sides. And you can calculate rhombus as a parallelogram because rhombus is just a special type of parallelogram where all the sides are equal. And that is same as base times height. That was the area for parallelogram. But we are given a different area, a formula for area when you have given the 2 diagonals, and that's P times Q divided by 2. And so, and how do we get that? You can explore this side more if you like, and then work on it yourself. Okay, last part, we are going to be working on perimeters, parallelogram, trapezoid, triangle, and rhombus. To do that, you're working on the rest of the decimal set. Here we go. It says the perimeter of parallelogram. So we are really looking for the outside length. So circle the measurements on the diagram you would use to calculate the perimeter of the parallelogram. We are given a whole lot of information, which is the one that it's going to be helpful for us. Well, that's going to be 20, 10, 14, 6, and 10. Just go around the length outside and add those up together, okay? So that's going to be 20 plus 10 plus 14 plus 6 plus 10. And then I get correct response there. What about next? Circle the measurements on the diagram you would use. Again, perimeter means outside length. So I'm going to need 10, 17, 8, 18, and 12. That's the outside length. So add those two together and I get awesome response. What about triangle? Again, we just add the outside length of this triangle. The triangle is this. Okay, the triangle that we're interested in is this. So it's going to be 37, 13, and 30. And I get awesome response. Then circle the measurements of the diagram you would use to calculate the perimeter. Okay, perimeter is the outside length. So again, I circle 15, 15, 15, 15. Do I need to add 15 4 times or can I just multiply 15 times 4 and submit? Great. And then ever so close to spring break. What do you say? That's it. And that's it for today. So if you can add to the table of content today's date, 1st of April, exterior angles of polygons and review of area and perimeter. Please don't forget to review quadratic factoring for those of you who are still struggling, or if you want to review it anyway to help you prepare for the finals coming up, that would be great too. Okay, thank you for listening. Take care.